He slouched in that executive chair like he owned the world. Congrats, Patricia. We've decided to move forward with Susan instead. She's sharper, quicker, and honestly, way more valuable than you could ever hope to be. If anything, you should be grateful. We didn't let you go. Sooner. Muffled chuckles rippled through the room, quiet and cautious, like jackals tiptoeing around a predator. My face felt like it was on fire, but I kept that polite expression locked in place. I placed a folded envelope on the corner of his mahogany desk. I appreciate everything, I said softly. He had no clue what I'd just handed him. Our story started half a decade ago. Back in those days, he had this pull, charm stitched into expensive fabric. His handshake felt warm, almost genuine. He painted pictures of advancement, guidance, opportunities ahead. He said I stood out from the crowd. And foolishly, I bought into every word. I stayed past closing time regularly, cleaned up his messes, even stood up for him when rumors about financial tricks started making rounds. I thought being faithful to the company would count for something. But with people like him, devotion is just ammunition. The warning signs crept in slowly. My assignments got handed off with zero explanation. Work I'd poured myself into suddenly had Susan's signature on it. Strategy sessions I should have been running happened behind closed doors without me. Then came the accidental email forward, the one I was never supposed to see, just keep her around a bit longer. She works for peanuts until Susan's trained up. I sat staring at those words, my breathing steady, emotions frozen solid. It wasn't devastation I felt. It was perfect, cold understanding. I didn't storm into his office. That would have been messy, predictable. Instead, I became a silent observer, cataloging every insult, every suspicious transaction, every drunken confession he made after one too many scotches. He loved bragging about his schemes, how he dodged authorities. His entire career, never filed an honest return. It's just smart business, he'd say with that cocky grin. My expression stayed neutral, but internally, I was taking notes on everything. It was a slow process, months of careful, invisible work. I'd duplicate sensitive files after hours while custodians emptied trash bins, saving everything to a hidden drive I'd secured underneath my desk drawer with tape. Financial records, fabricated billing documents, wire transfers to phantom corporations with innocent-sounding names like Blue Water Solutions. I tracked each one meticulously. When they finally announced Susan as my successor, my evidence was bulletproof. That envelope I set down wasn't about quitting. Inside was a complete breakdown of everything I'd uncovered. Organized and devastating. Clipped on top was an unsigned message. Federal agents appreciate when someone does their homework. Here's the complete assignment. He never bothered looking at it. Naturally, he tossed it toward the edge of his desk with that condescending expression. In his mind, I'd already vanished, which made it ideal. The actual submission happened 2 hours afterward, while he was raising glasses with Susan in the executive lounge, celebrating with expensive bubbles funded by my unpaid overtime. My complete package, storage devices, paperwork, chronological breakdowns was delivered to a federal investigator I'd been coordinating with for over a month. Every detail had been verified twice. 21 days went by. Complete silence. Then everything erupted. It began with small cracks. His financial accounts suddenly inaccessible. Then came the official operation. Government officials in professional attire descended on our workplace, confiscating hardware, databases, anything electronic. He attempted his usual confidence routine, tried treating it like a misunderstanding. But once they revealed the evidence, the shell games, the hidden overseas accounts, his bravado evaporated completely. Susan stood frozen near the glass, gripping her promotion paperwork like some kind of talisman. She wasn't complicit, just another pawn in his game, exactly like I'd been. They escorted him through the lobby in restraints. News cameras captured everything. That arrogant smirk had completely disappeared. I never returned to that building afterward. There was no reason to. While the corporation collapsed under media scrutiny, I settled into a neighborhood coffee shop and watched updates stream across my laptop. Wealthy executive arrested on fraud charges. Extravagant lifestyle built on employee exploitation. My phone lit up with texts from old colleagues. Did you have any idea? Can you believe this happened? I sent back something simple. Guess he wasn't the genius he claimed to be. Real justice doesn't announce itself. It doesn't require dramatics. It operates silently, surgically, more surgical blade than sledgehammer. I could have pleaded for acknowledgement. Could have competed with Susan over crumbs of validation. Instead, I systematically deconstructed the empire he'd constructed on ego and corruption piece by deliberate piece. That evening, alone in my small apartment, I retrieved the last envelope I'd saved for myself. His distinctive signature covered countless forged documents, all written in his own confident handwriting. Evidence of his greed, documentation of his destruction. I burned each page individually in my kitchen sink, not from paranoia, but for completion. People sometimes wonder if I wrestled with regret. I haven't, not once. He played games with people's careers, with their entire futures, and assumed nobody possessed the courage to challenge him. He completely misjudged the reserved woman sitting in the background, the employee he considered disposable. And here's the reality about individuals like him. They're always blindsided. When he reclined in that chair, ridiculing me in front of everyone, he believed he'd triumphed. But the reality? His downfall was already guaranteed. Every snicker in that conference room, every contemptuous look, none of it held any weight, because I'd already determined his outcome. And witnessing his collapse wasn't simply gratifying, it was accountability, finally delivered.